when one single bolt causes double the labor on a job that shouldn't be that big of a deal. Let's find out what happened on this Civic. Let's get started. This is a common scenario on this 2007 Honda Civic with the 1.8 that I've seen on vehicles over the years. You kind of just have to be prepared for it in the mechanic world when you work on cars. Occasionally you're going to get a car in where it maybe quotes a couple, 3 hours to do a job and it takes you 6 because you're fighting and fighting with seized up bolts, rusted up bolts. And that's the situation we had here. We'll show you here in a minute. One little bolt took 2 or 3 hours to fight with. But before we dive into that, let's take a look around this Civic. You can see the front of this Civic and it has some fogged out headlights, but the customer's really only concerned with the water pump this time around. This one's pretty decent on this side. I think it's just a work vehicle or a school vehicle. It's nothing super fancy or anything. You can see it's just your base model Civic, nothing fancy, not an SI or anything. There is some scrapes on the passenger front part of the door, but other than that, and the bumper as well. Let's go ahead and get the hood open. Here's our little 1.8 liter Honda Civic engine. These are used in tons of vehicles. They are very bulletproof. They're very good engines until you try to do a water pump with a seized up bolt. We'll show you that here in a minute. But we don't have any other issues. The engine's running great. It has no check engine light or any other issues. Just needed a water pump. And it does say on the valve cover there, 4.5. That means 4.5 quarts of oil. That's how much oil this one holds. Now, the water pump on this actually wasn't even bad. The customer just wanted it done as a preventative measure so they don't have to be broke down on the side of the road. They said, can you please just replace it? So we were happy to go ahead and fulfill that request and get it done. Unfortunately, it was a lot of trouble. Let's let Mrs. Wizard show you guys around the interior of this Honda Civic.
Okay, legends, I can see why they would request the water pump to be done. This has 224,922 miles. Wow. Definitely a few miles on here, and if it's never been done before, yeah, this is time to get your water pump done. Let's go ahead and turn this key off, save their battery. And they have down there a nice little 53 Caddy rolling around back there. But that'll be fun. As you're going around corners, this is just flying back and forth. So that's cute, like that. We have a nice screen up there, but our dash, everything else is looking really nice. They have added another aftermarket Android-based stereo system, so that does, modernize the system nicely. Have simple controls. Then we have a very mega charge port back here and a little hidey hole that I don't quite understand. It is very small. There's not much you can put there. I mean, here's the entire tray for it. It's not very big and something really can't fit in there. It'd fall out into this lower tray. So I'm not so sure the design concept there. We have a very simple gear selector and it looks like it could easily be changed into a manual configuration as well, but this is an automatic. So move back. Oh, they have the family jewels here. They have the lovely faux ruby here that they keep nicely stashed into their little coin holder. Have a nice cup holders. Armrest here in the center, looking really good. Got some of those cords over there from all that plethora of things plugged in. Not a lot of bolster on the sides, but the seats are looking very nice. Door card, we have more of the taupe and kind of a light tan below that. The back seat's in pretty good shape. It looks like there might have been a car seat in here at some point. That does happen. That's what little kids do. They come with a mess. Headliner, looking good though. Don't see any Cheeto fingers or any marks up there. And after 224,000 miles, yeah, we've got a little bit of wear up here on the top of the steering wheel. Got some sun blistering here. And of course, somehow that Honda logo, that thing gets abused. Seen several Hondas with that chrome coming off. So enough of this interior talk. Let's see what's going on with that bolt and why is it giving the Wizard such a hard time?
So here's our old water pump. We finally got it removed, and as you can hear, the bearings are good. It's not loose. It really probably could have gone a while longer, but the customer they wanted it done for peace of mind to make sure this is done. It's not going to leave us stranded. We're at the miles, like Mrs. Wishart said in her interior review. If you didn't watch it, you should have. The thing is that can you guarantee how much more life is left in this water pump? It's kind of like saying somebody who's 92 years old, can you guarantee how much more life that person has? No. At some point it's going to fail and it's best just to go ahead and get it taken care of. So did it need to be done? Not really, but the customer wanted it done anyways. And it should have been a pretty straightforward job. It don't have to take the timing belt or the timing chains off to get to this, but you do have to remove the serpentine belt tensioner. And that's where we ran into trouble. So you can see right there an open cavity where the water pump used to be. Unfortunately, what sits right in front of the water pump is the tensioner. It's kind of a V-shaped arm. Let me show you the old one. So here's our water pump. It kind of sits in the car like this. And then our tensioner sits right on the neck of this thing. You can see it's very, very close. You can't get the water pump out until you get the tensioner off. And it was the bolt that holds the tensioner on that was terrible. This is what's left of the bolt that held it on. Junior Mint showed me, he came over, he's having trouble. He's like, this thing isn't turning. I'm afraid it's going to snap or going to break or do something. And all of your might, I mean, you could put all of your might into this thing and it just felt like it's going to strip. And I said, let's try heating it. Let's try different things. It still wouldn't come loose. Finally, I just went and got a breaker bar and just see if I could get it loose. And it just wasn't going to budge. And what we found out was, we thought the threads of the bolt were seized to the block or stripped or something was really wrong, but they weren't. The head of the bolt was corroded and seized from rust so bad into the actual bushing on this, what this swivels on. The threads were fine. So we went ahead and tried to drill out the head of the bolt, and it worked, but it was seized into the bushing right here so bad that I put it in the vise. I went ahead and tried to get the bolt to break loose, and actually just, this whole thing just, the neck of it broke, guys. It was so corroded in there. So the cost of fixing this, it costs more than just replace the tensioner. So what do we do in this situation? Where do you go from here? Let's talk about it. In this situation, I've learned over the years that the first thing to do is make phone calls. You call the customer. When we saw that the bolt was getting really tight and causing some issues, I knew right away this is going to take more time. The rusting and the seizing is not the shop's fault. It's not the customer's fault. It's nobody's fault. It just there has to be more time to get it unseized. What you do is you call the customer and say, we have this seized up bolt. It could add an extra half an hour to an hour to your job. If you would like to pay that, we will continue with the job and continue to get it done for you. If you don't want to pay it, we'll put it back together. No charge. Just come get your car. Usually 99% of the time people say, well, I get it, I understand. They're totally understanding. Let's go ahead and get it done. I'll pay the extra hour or whatever it is, because somebody has to get that bolt out. And most mechanics I know don't work for free. They're going to ask for a case of beer, $50, $100, depending on how much difficulty and time is involved. There has to be some compensation there. So customer was fine with it. They said, yeah, I understand. Go ahead and get it broke loose or whatever. It's going to require a new tensioner and a new bolt. Once we got that off, like I mentioned, the bolt itself we were able to remove with our fingers. It just came out just smooth. The tip of the bolt, or the head of the bolt, is what was seized, not the threads. Isn't that strange, guys? It's been a while since I've seen something like that. It's not the first time, but usually it's a thread issue. This time around, it wasn't the threads at all. So, as much as that sucks, I'm actually thankful. I'm actually happy, in fact, because it's very easy to just replace the tensioner. It's like $80 or something. Can you imagine that the bolt snapped right at the level of the block, smooth, flush with it? You have to drill it out. Let's go take a look at Tyler's 6.9. That happened quite a few times. We have the exhaust manifold out of his 1979 Mercedes 6.9. He kept hearing a noise. He thought it was a speedometer cable acting up again or something like that, but it ended up being a bad exhaust manifold gasket. Let me show you. So you can see on this gasket here, there's a sheet metal portion. It's very thin metal. And it had broke loose and was separated, and exhaust was going across like a clarinet reed across this metal and going, making a very strange noise.
It was sounding like Scooby?
Kind of was. Danielson actually found that. We were thinking we're going to have to pull the speedometer cable and figure out where is this noise coming from. It was sitting there idling in drive, and it started making the noise. So Danielson real quick put it into park, ran around, and he found it. It was coming from the exhaust manifold on the very front edge here, making that horrible noise. It never was the speedometer cable. It was an exhaust manifold gasket. So we got the go-ahead from Tyler to remove that, and Danielson tried as best as he could. There's 8 bolts that hold this on, and these bolts have not moved since 1979. So guess what, Mrs. Wizard?
What?
They're as old as me.
They are. They're not faring so well, though. You're doing a little better than them.
Almost 47 years old. They haven't moved. They've been going through heat cycle, cold cycle, heat cycle, cold cycle. And the bolts have basically turned into glass. They're so brittle. No amount of heating, no amount of treating, no amount of PB blaster, nothing was able to keep 4 of them from snapping. Let's take a look. So here's 2 of them that actually came out smoothly. 4 came out, 4 did not. You can see on this one, no matter he heated or not, it just snapped right there. Broke clear off. This is an old enough car. There's no wheel liner to remove to get to them because it's solid steel. It's part of the body. It's welded together. And the angle you have to get to try to get these drilled out is almost impossible. Even Danielson said, Wizard, this is on you. I know if I try to drill this out, I may not have good luck. I'm going to have to put this on your shoulders. I can do all the other work, but this is something that I don't feel comfortable with. So here's what we're doing. So it's these center ones, the 4, I've already have pilot holes drilled. So this is my angle drill I use to drill pilot holes into it. It's almost ready to drill all the way out, but I'm waiting on a second drill that I used to use in the aircraft industry when I first got out of the military. I don't want to oversize the hole or damage the holes in the cylinder head. They're aluminum. So I'm going to have to get something that's a little bit smaller and more accurate. This thing, let me show you. As we get into here where this shock tower, shock mount is, you really can't get a good bite on there. So this isn't horseshoes. You can't be good enough or close enough. It needs to be dead center, dead perfect. I drilled a lot of bolts, a lot of fasteners in the aircraft industry. I got really good at it. And actually, here's a picture of the tool I'm going to use. It's a right angle, 90-degree, threaded drill. It takes these little threaded drill bits. They're tiny, almost like a dentist drill. And I can get in there and just clear it out almost to the diameter of the threads and then pick out the rest and have clean threads without damaging anything. But it is going to take some time. I went over this with Tyler. I said, there's where we're at. Do you want to proceed or do you want to stop? If you don't want to spend the money, we don't have to. You can say no, we won't do anything. He said, please do it. I can't stand that noise. I know it's going to be expensive. It's going to be a lot of work to get those broken bolts out, but go ahead. So we got to go ahead on that. As soon as my other drill that I ordered comes in, I'll be able to finish drilling those out and we'll be back in business. So years ago when I was coming up, one of my mentors told me, he said, every time something bad happens in the shop or a certain type of car comes in the shop or a certain problem from the outside world, it always comes in 3s. If you get a blown head gasket come in, he said, go ahead and plan on the books, you're getting 2 more. And it has never failed to be wrong. I don't know how that works. It's like the stars align or some sort of foretelling the future using astronomy. I don't know what it is. It's some kind of magic, guys. So we have bolts giving us trouble here. We have bolts giving us trouble on the 6.9. And we had a third one. You know how it comes in 3s. We have another bolt on a CL500 we're working on. We're still working to see if we can get that one loose. Hopefully it doesn't become the third one. So let us know in the comments, guys, in your line of work, whatever it is you do, have you seen things come in 3s like that? I remember another story. We had a transmission come in on a Dodge Cummins. A guy was towing and burned up his transmission. He was way overweight on it. And I said, man, we were already kind of swamped in the shop. And Kenneth said, you better get ready because 2 more are coming. And I was like, what? How do you know that? Sure enough, by the end of the week, 2 more showed up. 2 more Cummins diesels, burned up transmissions. We had to work 3 or 4 weekends straight to get out of that bind. I don't know how that works. It's really strange. So the question could be asked, why are we replacing a water pump and going through all this trouble on a water pump that didn't even need it in the first place? You got to think, not everybody in the world is a mechanic. They're not mechanically inclined or mechanically minded. And they're just at a point like, if that goes bad, it could overheat my engine, and then I'm really going to be screwed. And certain people who do Uber or Lyft or DoorDash or different jobs like that, they can't be bothered at an inconvenient time. This customer probably has some time off. They know in this time frame, I can get my water pump done, and then by the time it's done, I can get back to work. But if you wait till it fails, it's always going to fail right at the most busy time that you're trying to get work done and leave you stranded right in the middle of your work week. So it kind of makes sense. I get it. And we're happy to do it. It's just too bad that that bolt gave us so much trouble. And very likely with 224,000 miles on it, the tensioner may have been on its way out anyways because it was corroding pretty bad. There's some things, we're not really going to lift this car up in the air, but it has some corrosion issues in the front of the engine, and it kind of makes sense after the battle we went through to get that bolt out. But how much longer does this car have left in it? The Honda Civics are actually very reliable cars. They're about one step below a Toyota Corolla or a Camry. Again, Toyota is the best as far as reliability and lifespan. It's at 224,000 miles. It very likely could go to 324,000 miles, maybe 350. It totally could do that. I don't know about 500,000 miles, but this car has quite a bit of life left in it still. And it's totally worth it to go ahead and do this work because now they can get back to their job and not worry about a water pump. So unfortunately, we'll add about an hour to the bill and maybe the cost of a tensioner, but they'll have a new tensioner and a new water pump. And if it ever happens again, something else has to be taken apart that the tensioner has to come off, it'll come off. Unlike this situation here, which was a serious, serious fight. Junior Man did the work and he tried his darndest to try to do it, and even I helped him, and we're just like, sometimes corrosion gets in there and it makes things impossible to get apart. You just have to bite the bullet and replace that part or bolt. So definitely wanted to get a video out there to you guys to show you sometimes a 2-hour job can take 5. If it's going to cost more time, be upfront with people. If you're running a business where it's going to be some more time, just call them. 9 times out of 10, they'll say, hey, I get it. I understand, no problem. But the one thing you don't want to do is just run the bill up and don't tell them about it and just stick it to them. That's where you start getting people pissed off. Hopefully you guys understand in the mechanic world, sometimes things like this happen. It's just life. It's life in the mechanic world. If you're curious what kind of tools we use to get this apart and finally get the water pump off, or tools we use on any of the cars in the shop, which are tried and true, we use every day in the shop, are listed in our Amazon affiliate link in the description below. And if you purchase anything there, we get a small cut and really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell before you go, because we have many, many more videos to go. Thanks for watching.